Before you lies a circle of crowns, each shimmering with its own quiet language. Some glow warm as sunrise, others gleam like starlight, some glint darkly as if forged in the heart of storms. Don't overanalyze their style or jewels. Simply look and notice which one stirs that subtle pulse of recognition in your chest. In Jungian symbolism, a crown isn't merely decoration. It is a sign of consciousness claiming its authority, the archetypal reminder that every human being is a ruler of an inner kingdom. The one that catches your gaze reveals the guardian force guiding you now, the pattern your soul uses to protect, to lead, and to grow. In ancient myths, divine messengers or guardian angels often wore diadems of light, each expressing a unique essence: mercy, courage, insight, or sovereignty. The psyche carries these same energies inside us. Jung would call them archetypes, living symbols that move unseen beneath our daily personalities yet shape our choices and our dreams. When you choose a crown, you are intuitively sensing which guardian energy inside you seeks expression. Some people reach for radiance, others for reflection, some for purity of vision, others for burning courage. There's no right or wrong choice, only an honest mirror held up to your depths. Take a breath and slow your sight. Let your heart pick, not your logic, and keep that image close as we journey together. Listen to what it says about where you are in life, perhaps stepping into leadership, perhaps learning to trust your own intuition, maybe rediscovering gentleness within self-discipline. Each crown unveils a different angel of your own being, but all are facets of the same luminous self-awareness that Jung called individuation, the movement toward wholeness. While you explore, relax into the rhythm of language and imagination. Let the words wash over you like memory returning. And if this symbolic adventure speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe and share in the comments which crown chose you. These reflections grow richer when we witness them together. Every story echoes another. Now, with eyes open and mind quiet, look once more. One of these crowns is already calling your name, not to rule the world, but to remember the royalty, the wisdom, the guardian light seated quietly within. The golden crown, the guardian of radiance. The golden crown gleams as if sunlight itself has condensed into form. Its brilliance does not shout. It glows with effortless certainty, drawing the eye like dawn draws the earth awake. To reach for it without hesitation means something deep in you already knows the language of light. You may spend your life chasing truth, shaping vision, or guiding others simply by example. The heart behind this choice belongs to the guardian of radiance, an inner angel that embodies leadership through warmth and confidence rather than dominance. Carl Jung described such energy as the archetype of the sovereign, the power that organizes chaos into purpose. Within you, it functions like the sun in a psychological cosmos, giving life to all it touches yet often forgetting it can also burn. You probably learned early that influence is natural to you. When you speak, people listen. When you decide, others relax into direction. This magnetism is not arrogance, it's luminosity, charisma born of intention more than ambition. You see possibilities where others see facts, and your optimism can feel contagious. Still, every light casts a shadow. The greater your ability to inspire, the more temptation arises to hide fatigue behind brightness, to mistake strength for perpetual availability. The guardian of radiance rarely admits exhaustion because darkness feels like failure. But even the sun rests nightly behind the earth, and even you must let your brilliance dissolve into quiet sometimes so that renewal can occur. Imagine the weight of the golden crown resting on your head. It feels warm at first, then heavy, almost sacredly so. Many who carry responsibility understand that sensation, the blend of honor and obligation. If you wear this archetypal crown for too long without removing it, the line between service and sacrifice begins to blur. Others start depending on your glow to navigate their own paths. You find yourself performing calm, offering assurance you no longer feel. This is how the radiant soul dims, not through error, but through overgiving. Jung taught that imbalance always summons its opposite. The mind compensates for excess. Too much light invites shadow as remedy. When you sense resentment replacing joy, it simply means your unconscious is begging for shade. The guardian of radiance protects through inspiration. Your presence organizes chaos. It's as if people subconsciously arrange themselves when you arrive. You generate trust quickly, perhaps even leadership positions follow you uninvited. But the maturing task for you now is inner authority, to validate your worth without external mirrors. If applause or appreciation define your sense of self, power turns brittle. True sovereignty demands self-permission. It's the art of standing in your own light even when no one notices the shine. That lesson often comes through disappointment. Maybe colleagues took your steadiness for granted, or friends disappeared once your generosity stopped flowing. Perhaps life humbled you with failure after a long line of wins. In those moments the crown seemed to vanish. Yet it hadn't, it was changing hue, from gold that dazzles to gold that endures. Real radiance matures through humility. It learns that guiding others doesn't always mean standing above them. Sometimes it means stepping back, carrying the lantern instead of the throne. At the emotional level, you are built for devotion. Once committed to a project, belief, or person, you offer a kind of loyalty that others rarely match. This deep sincerity explains why betrayal wounds so deeply for you. But even heartbreak can polish the crown. Each loss reveals another definition of power: patience, forgiveness, discernment. Over time you realize that authority born of compassion outshines authority born of conquest. You start measuring success not by trophies but by harmony created, by people encouraged to shine in their own right. Jung's symbolism of gold links it to consciousness itself, the unifying drive that integrates opposites. When the guardian of radiance integrates shadow, accepting imperfection, revealing anxiety, laughing at mistakes, the light becomes more trustworthy. Followers turn into collaborators. You stop performing perfection and begin living truth. This transformation signals the shift from persona, the mask of competence, to self, the center that simply is. Notice how the golden crown in your mind's eye catches reflections of every other crown nearby. It does not compete with them, it illuminates them. Your purpose is not to outshine but to highlight. When your radiance helps another discover their worth, energy multiplies instead of draining. Leadership becomes art rather than labor. Think of artists who influence silently, the teacher whose encouragement still echoes decades later, the friend whose simple faith prevents despair. You carry that same potential. To wield it wisely, practice soft power, the kind that steadies rooms without command, that speaks briefly yet meaningfully because sincerity carries farther than speech. If you've ever felt conflicted about ambition, as if pursuing recognition betrays spirituality, remember that gold symbolizes integration, not greed. It's the completion of the alchemical process, the spirit made tangible. Creating something remarkable, leading effectively, earning respect. These can all be acts of love when infused with awareness. Your crown asks you to embody purpose as devotion, not performance. Excellence born of heart never corrupts. What, then, is the danger of gold? Inflation. In psychological language, inflation occurs when identification with power eclipses humility. The radiant self forgets its human vessel and starts believing its own myth. If you notice impatience with others' limitations, or a subtle steady comparison between your glow and theirs, pause. Touch humility like cool water. Remember the crown sits on the head, not in it. It can be removed, it can also be shared. The truest kings and queens are the ones whose people feel royal in their presence. Behind every guardian angel lies its human echo, a story of why that energy became necessary. Yours might trace back to a moment when confidence won you love, when competence earned you safety. You learned that being bright kept the darkness away. It worked, then became habit, then identity. Now evolution whispers a gentler command. You no longer need to keep the world alight to deserve belonging. It's enough to glow for yourself. Hold this image, you, sitting quietly, the golden crown resting lightly instead of pressing down. The room around you glimmers softly. No spotlight, no audience, just equilibrium, a steady burn. That is radiance in its highest form, self-illumination that neither blinds nor fades. And in that peaceful shine your guardian angel smiles, relieved that you finally recalled the simplest royal truth, that the sun need only be what it already is. The silver crown, the guardian of reflection. The silver crown glimmers differently from gold. It doesn't blaze or demand notice, it glows like moonlight across still water, calm and persuasive in its silence. Those who are drawn to this crown often recognize its quiet magnetism immediately, a steadiness that feels like truth whispered rather than truth proclaimed. Choosing it means the guardian of reflection watches over you, the angel of perception, empathy, and introspection. Its radiance is colder but deeper, shifting with every angle, revealing that wisdom and sensitivity are not separate but intertwined. To wear the silver crown is to carry a mirror in the soul. You naturally see what others overlook, the faint expressions between words, the tremors behind confidence, the beauty curled inside pain. People come to you without always knowing why. They leave lighter, heard in ways they rarely expect. It is not magic, it's attention, refined and deliberate. You listen with your whole presence. And yet, that same gift can become a burden if you forget to turn the mirror toward yourself. The guardian of reflection reminds you that empathy loses clarity when it becomes absorption. To understand others deeply, you must also remain distinct from them, or you will drown in borrowed emotion. Jung associated silver with the realm of the unconscious, dream, intuition, imagination. You likely experience insights as flashes from elsewhere, perhaps waking visions or coincidences too elegant to ignore. This sensitivity is your instrument. Handled with awareness, it becomes artistry. Left ungrounded, it tips into confusion. The silver soul's challenge is discernment, deciding which impression belongs to the world and which arises from personal history. An intuition untrained can mistake anxiety for prophecy. The work of the guardian of reflection is to polish perception through self-knowledge so that intuition stays luminous rather than reactive. If you chose this crown, you might have grown up as the emotional translator in your family, the one who sensed tension before voices rose, the peacemaker who adapted to everyone's mood. Your empathy protected you, turning awareness into survival. But it may also have trained you to prioritize harmony over honesty. Now, adulthood asks for recalibration, compassion balanced with truth, kindness that tells rather than placates. Silver accuracy, clear, gentle, unsentimental, is more healing than polite silence. Learning to speak truthfully without cruelty is your archetype's mastery. Imagine lifting the crown. It is lighter than you expected. It fits easily, almost naturally, around the mind, as though it were waiting there all along. Instantly a hush spreads inside you. The noise of the world dims, replaced by luminous stillness. That sensation hints at how your psyche functions. You restore order through calm, not command. In crises you become the anchoring voice, not by volume but by presence. Colleagues, friends, and strangers alike feel steadied near you. That influence is subtle but profound, less like leadership, more like gravity. You don't direct, you draw. Yet silver also tarnishes. If too many sorrows brush against you, your glow dulls under residue that isn't wholly yours. You might wake feeling drained from empathy loops, burdened by problems you did not cause. This fatigue signals a boundary unguarded by self-worth. Reflection must include discernment. This emotion is not mine. Simple phrases spoken internally can cleanse energy as surely as polishing cloth restores shine. Maintaining inner neutrality allows compassion to flow freely instead of sticking to guilt. Outwardly you may appear reserved, even mysterious. That restraint often hides exquisite emotional depth. While the golden soul shares passion with gestures, you express care through quiet consistency, remembering details, creating safe atmospheres, offering silence as sanctuary. People talk around you and discover truths they didn't know they held. But you, humble in your sensitivity, rarely notice the magnitude of this healing. Your gift works like the tide, unseen except by those who know to watch the shoreline. The silver guardian's shadow appears when reflection turns to rumination. When hurt, you replay events endlessly, analyzing motives, rewriting dialogues, searching for closure that intellectualization can't provide. That spiral traps the mind beneath awareness of feeling without release. The antidote: expression. Put the cycle into sound, art, movement, any act that translates reflection into form. That process mirrors Jung's idea of active imagination, giving voice to the unconscious so it stops haunting from behind. You might discover your creativity thrives in moments others call melancholy. Quiet rooms, familiar music, storms outside, they invite your muse. Don't label this sensitivity as fragility, it's a doorway. Through it, you link the personal with the universal. Your writing, design, mentoring, or caretaking carries collective relevance because you articulate moods common to everyone but accessible to few. You are the chronicler of subtle human transitions, the time between grief and healing, between doubt and faith. Silver work shines brightest in twilight. In relationships, vulnerability is both your longing and fear. You crave depth yet hesitate to reveal yourself fully. The risk of being misunderstood feels unbearable, so you stay gracious but guarded. However, connection without exposure nourishes no one. Try unveiling emotion as you do for others, softly, deliberately, with gentleness toward imperfection. Notice how trust amplifies when you allow someone to witness the hidden tremor under calm. The guardian of reflection evolves when the mirror shows both faces, the world's and your own. Some nights you may feel detached, almost invisible, watching life from a reflective distance. That perspective has beauty. It allows philosophical understanding, but it can slide into loneliness. The moon sometimes needs the sun's warmth. Seek those whose fire complements your water, whose energy invites play. Shared laughter rebalances the introspective soul. It reminds you that understanding need not always be solemn. The most radiant empathy often dances. Picture, in imagination, that silver crown glowing faintly on your brow as you close your eyes. It does not weigh, it listens. Within its curves echo thousands of quiet victories, moments you consoled, mediated, created peace where discord once reigned. These small acts accumulate into legacy just as moonlight, faint on each wave, eventually coats an entire sea. Your guardian angel smiles in that luminescence. Their message to you is simple: it's safe to feel and still shine. Because, unlike mirrors that merely copy light, you bend it, knowing that reflection itself can become radiance. The crystal crown, the guardian of vision. The crystal crown seems almost alive, clear as frozen light, yet deep as the sky after rain. When it catches the faintest glimmer, it scatters colors that weren't visible a heartbeat before. To choose it is to acknowledge the part of yourself that sees beyond appearances, that believes the invisible is more real than the surface of things. The guardian of vision dwells within that choice, the angel of insight, imagination, and spiritual clarity. Jung would have called this the archetype of the seer, the internal force guiding the mind toward meaning, constantly lifting perception from the horizontal to the vertical, from ordinary sight to revelation. If this is the crown that spoke to you, you probably live with a sense that the world is layered, that every event hides a metaphor waiting to be decoded. You notice synchronicities that others dismiss as coincidence. You hear rhythm and pattern in random noise. Your intuition arrives as flashes, whole pictures that download fully formed rather than as slow, logical reasoning. It can feel exhilarating, even holy, to see connections so wide and luminous. But this visionary energy walks a fine line, illumination on one side, overwhelm on the other. The guardian of vision grants foresight but also demands grounding. Without it, light becomes glare. Think of the first time you glimpsed beauty that hurt, a sunset that felt like homesickness, a truth too large to speak. That ache is the seer awakening, and you've been chasing that mixture of wonder and clarity ever since. It's what makes you creative, spiritual, hungry for significance. Yet you've likely discovered that few people live comfortably at that altitude. When you speak about what you sense, some stare blankly or smile politely. Their misunderstanding may have taught you to edit yourself, to guard your revelations like fragile glass. The crystal crown is delicate but courageous. It asks that you keep seeing, even if others cannot yet follow the view. A mind governed by this archetype moves differently. You listen for symbols in conversation, you interpret dreams instinctively, you sense potential long before results appear. Your world is alive with archetypes. The universal forms Jung said inhabit the collective unconscious. Whenever you draw, write, pray, or problem-solve, you're translating those forms into expression. This is where your genius resides. But there's a caution. You can become so entranced by possibilities that you drift from present reality. The seer becomes the wanderer. The crown then turns too light, threatening to slip away entirely. To counter this, anchor each vision in an action, a paragraph written, a conversation started, a small act that grounds the revelation into earth. Crystal, by nature, forms under pressure and precision. Its transparency owes everything to structure. The same holds true for your psyche. Discipline is the skeleton of your freedom. You aren't meant to float through life in pure abstraction. You're meant to translate dream into language. Give your creativity parameters, deadlines, rituals, tangible projects. Structure doesn't choke vision, it magnifies it, focusing scattered light into laser clarity. Without limits, imagination becomes fog. With them, it becomes art. Emotionally, those drawn to the crystal crown crave purity, the kind that comes from honesty and spiritual coherence. You want your outer life to match your inner truth. Hypocrisy offends you deeper than cruelty. Confusion hurts more than conflict. That sensitivity can make you fiercely authentic, but also unforgiving of yourself. If caught lying, even gently, you spiral into self-doubt. Remember, perfection enslaves purity. True clarity allows for smudges. It knows that transparency includes flaw. The guardian of vision matures when it trades idealism for integrity, when it accepts imperfection as part of wholeness. You may find your relationships run on wavelengths others can't always tune to. You connect better through meaning than through routine. Conversations need depth. Love needs transcendence. It's not drama you seek, but resonance. Yet because you communicate in symbols and moods, others might misinterpret your silence or intensity. Practice translating intuition into simple language. Don't wait for people to read your energy. Help them understand it. Teaching your worldview gently transforms difference into harmony and gives your visions audience and life. The shadow side of the crystal archetype resembles spiritual fatigue. When insight becomes constant, the human nervous system tires. You forget to enjoy uninterpretive existence, the ordinary meal, the silly joke, the pause with no hidden message. If that fatigue has crept in, it's a sign to close the third eye for a while and open the five senses. Let reality be literal again. Wash dishes to wash dishes, not as meditation. Paradoxically, simplicity re-enchants faster than relentless seeking. Another trap. Using wisdom as distance. Seeing through everything can harden into skepticism. Exposure to every irony eventually dulls wonder. Guard against clever cynicism. It's merely grief wearing intelligence as armor. Keep innocence alive. Wonder isn't naivete, it's trust renewed daily. The guardian of vision stays luminous only when wonder accompanies knowledge, when humor keeps humility alive. You might notice recurring dreams of flight or of transparent towers. In dream work, these reflect aspiration toward consciousness but also the danger of detachment. The psyche speaks in symbols you already understand. Wings need rest, towers need doors. In waking life, that means alternating solitude with participation. Retreat to process, return to share. Every cycle refines both insight and empathy. Ultimately, the crystal crown signifies revelation through integration. Each inner breakthrough, every pattern recognized, isn't meant for personal superiority. It's meant to help humanity see itself more clearly. When your perceptions heal misunderstanding, when your art makes someone feel seen, that's the crown fulfilling its purpose. But not all visions require audience. Many exist simply to remind you you're part of something immeasurable. Accept both roles, messenger and witness. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the crown gleaming above you. It feels cool, alive, almost humming. You sense clarity flooding downward like clean water, rinsing noise from thought. This is communion with your inner guardian of vision. It whispers, be the window, not the wall. Let light pass through you, not end with you. Those who truly see never hoard sight. They offer it gently, so others learn to notice too. And when exhaustion returns, when inspiration recedes into fog, remember transparency isn't absence of color. It's all colors combined so finely they become light. Your mind holds that spectrum, your heart the prism. Trust the process. Tomorrow beauty will refract again. The Iron Crown, the guardian of courage. Among all the crowns in the circle, the iron one waits apart, dark, unpolished, forged by flame rather than adorned by jewel. Its strength is quiet, its beauty hard-won. If your eyes went straight to this crown, you recognize something of yourself in its endurance, raw honesty, resilience forged through trial. This is the mark of the guardian of courage, the angel that stands not above conflict but inside it, holding the line when everything else trembles. While gold shines and silver soothes, iron protects. Jung often wrote that the psyche grows through tension. Choosing the iron crown means your spirit already understands that pressure is not punishment, it is tempering. No one wears iron comfortably. It presses close, reminding the skin of weight and existence. For you, courage has never been an abstract noun, it is muscle memory. Maybe life asked you to be strong earlier than expected, to adapt, to survive, to keep others safe when you barely felt safe yourself. That necessity taught discipline and reliability, yet also created a deep fatigue that rarely finds words. The guardian of courage lives in those who've met fear often enough to stop pretending fear is failure. You don't eliminate fear, You negotiate with it until it becomes respect. Picture for a moment the way smiths once formed iron crowns, through heat, hammer, and patience. Each strike shaped resilience. Your story follows that pattern. Pain customized your strength, failure trained your persistence, disappointment carved empathy from pride. That history explains your ability to act under pressure when others fragment. In crisis, something inner steadies, the hard-trained belief that you can endure. People rely on that steadiness more than they admit. Your calm is their signal to hope. But iron, though dependable, can corrode if never oiled with rest and tenderness. Strength untouched by care becomes rigidity. If exhaustion has become your companion, it's the metal asking for polish, for softness returned to steel. Courage in Jungian thought is not the absence of vulnerability, it's participation with it. When the hero faces the dragon, the terror is also internal, the repressed instincts demanding recognition. The iron archetype mirrors that ordeal. You confront danger by walking into it rather than around it, testing your integrity against the unknown. This doesn't always mean dramatic heroics. Sometimes courage is sending an honest message instead of a polite lie, walking into therapy rather than war, holding gaze instead of grudge. You embody bravery as constancy, those small daily fidelities that keep civilization intact. Yet the shadow hiding under the iron crown is control. Having endured chaos, you may equate safety with dominance, over schedule, over emotion, occasionally over others. Rules bring order, order brings peace. But order can also suffocate mystery and love. The guardian of courage evolves when you learn the subtler act of surrender, trusting strength enough to lay it down. Allowing someone else to lead, resting without guilt, admitting you still need protection too, that is higher valor. The warrior who never retreats forgets that retreat is strategy, not surrender. Your sense of duty is formidable. You plan, you verify, you show up. Colleagues describe you as dependable, maybe intimidating in your efficiency. But beneath that reliability is often a secret tenderness you rarely reveal. You notice small kindnesses, you remember anniversaries, prepare quietly for others' comfort. Iron compassion doesn't melt in public, it simply acts. Though you understate it, your loyalty is devotional. It's how your guardian angel works through you, service as love, steadiness as prayer. Still, service easily turns to self-erasure. The iron-hearted can forget to include themselves in the list of those deserving protection. If burnout whispers that everything depends on you, pause. That belief is ego disguised as responsibility. The world did not stop before you carried it. It won't collapse if you rest. Let others stumble, they must grow legs of their own. You are not abandoning them. You are teaching resilience by modeling balance. In relationships, this archetype partners through honor. You value loyalty over excitement, truth over charm. Sometimes that devotion borders on severity. You measure affection in deeds, not words. But others may misinterpret silence as coldness. Remember, expression isn't weakness. Let love hear your voice occasionally. Soft-spoken affection doesn't diminish credibility. It multiplies it. Those moments of tenderness are the oxygen your iron needs to keep from rusting. Symbolically, iron aligns with Mars, the principle of energy and action, but also of protection. Your instincts lean toward problem-solving, defense, execution. When you channel that impulse consciously, it becomes leadership by example. When unconscious, it becomes impatience with vulnerability, yours and others. When you feel irritation rise at someone's hesitation or sorrow, translate it. Your anger is empathy in armor, frustrated because it knows pain too well. Breathe before responding. He who holds the sword must learn when not to swing it. Jung spoke of the hero's eventual realization that the dragon outside and the dragon within are one. The moment you see that every battle reflected your own fear of weakness, courage changes form. It stops proving and starts transforming. Anger alchemizes into resolve. Defense becomes boundary, not wall. You discover that gentleness is not the opposite of power, but its refinement. True fortitude is flexible. Steel strong enough to bend never breaks. Sometimes, those wearing the iron crown struggle to believe in softness that isn't danger. Peace feels foreign, almost suspicious. You might find yourself creating challenges subconsciously just to feel alive. Recognize that impulse as leftover instinct from survival mode. You no longer need constant battle to justify existence. Peace is not absence of purpose, it's success finally noticed. Let life be quieter without assuming meaninglessness. Take a slow breath and feel the iron crown resting on your head. At first heavy, now reassuring. Its coolness steadies thought, its weight grounds presence. You realize strength doesn't isolate, it unites. Others sense safety in your gravity, but now you also sense safety in theirs. The guardian of courage smiles through that revelation. That partnership doesn't dilute authority, it doubles it. It whispers, your endurance was never a test. It was preparation for tenderness. When fear surfaces again, and it will, because courage requires fear's company, touch that invisible crown and remember what you've learned through its resonance. Stand tall, yes, but also kneel sometimes. Both gestures feed the soul. To kneel is to honor the forces greater than yourself, the mystery you serve, not control. To stand again is to remember you belong to that mystery completely. This rhythm is courage breathing. No fury, no bravado, just steadfast heart continuing to beat through change. And as the light in your imagination glances off iron's edges, notice, under the soot, the metal glows red gold where fire last kissed it. That warmth is you. The guardian angel of courage dwells there, in tempered heat, reminding you that the same fires that once threatened you have become inner hearth. You are unbreakable not because nothing can wound you, but because wounds taught you how to stay open. That is the rarest strength of all. Conclusion. We began with a single question, which crown calls to you? And followed it inward through gold and silver, crystal and iron. Each spoke to a different guardian within the psyche, each carried a facet of your wholeness. Perhaps one image stayed with you, or perhaps fragments of all four felt familiar. That blending is the truth of individuality. No one is only radiance, or reflection, or vision, or courage. We are shifting combinations of them, balancing light and limitation day by day. The crowns were never trophies. They were mirrors, symbols through which your unconscious spoke about how you hold your own authority. Gold reminded you that power can be gentle, silver, that empathy must include yourself, crystal, that clarity needs grounding, and iron, that resilience also requires rest. To recognize these truths is already to wear them with grace. Jung called such insight individuation, the slow coronation of the authentic self. You have just practiced that ceremony through imagination. Take a moment to picture all four crowns resting together on an altar of light, their gleams overlapping. They do not compete, they complete. In their interplay lies the design of your evolving soul. When you act with warmth, think with wisdom, dream with clarity, and stand with courage, you express the full pattern of your guardianship. You become your own angel, the human being illuminated from within. If this reflective journey stirred something in you, keep following that curiosity. Self-knowledge grows through shared insight. Subscribe, join the conversation, and tell in the comments which crown found you tonight. You may be surprised how many others feel the same resonance. Every story deepens the collective mirror where we see each other more clearly. And as you move back into ordinary light, remember the simplest revelation of all. The crown you chose sits invisibly upon you already. It is not privilege, but presence, the quiet awareness that your life, in its unique pattern of strength and softness, is its own kingdom of meaning. Rule it kindly.